following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.
Tonight going to be a pretty fun night as we get ready to kick off 2024 in the 811 Cup Series as we come live to you from Daytona International Speedway, virtually on iRacing. It is time for the Clash at Daytona, presented by 811. As a little bit of a later start, we're going to have obviously a big pre-race show as we get into the season opener in Daytona in a couple weeks. Tonight, obviously going to be a fun night, as actually, believe it or not, Kevin and I just got done probably about 15 minutes ago recording a interview that you're going to hear on the podcast, the Scalicast, coming up here next week as we preview the season. So we're now here. We flew real quickly to Daytona, and here we are at the track ready to go tonight for the Clash. 10 drivers going to qualify their way in right now as qualifying officially will begin, and cars are on track. As we're going to have a lot of new drivers, some old faces in new places, some new names, some older names, some familiar, some non-so-familiar. But we've got a good crop of racers ready to go here for the season, and a lot of big news stories that we're going to be covering here throughout the season. So get ready, sit back, as we have to track the top 10 qualifiers here in qualifying for the Clash, which of course is presented by 811. Know it's below. Call before you dig. As already seeing some viewers pop into chat, some newcomers, as I was just talking to some of the newer drivers in the series, as we watch drivers start to run their throwaway lap. And let's throw the qualifying up on the board and let you see what we are seeing time-wise right now. Again, the top 10 will be the cars that make qualifying or make the race automatically, and then from there we do some heat racing to set the grid for 25 cars that'll race for 40 laps coming up here in just a little bit. As you see Kevin Stone up there on the pole right now, newcomer of Cody Giles, I believe that is, no relation to Jay Giles, as Kevin England joins me. Hello, Kevin. Welcome back. Let me turn. Yeah, do I get your microphone on? There we go. Let me turn your mic on. Go ahead now.
Yeah.
Get that out of the way.
A little bit like Lightning McQueen. A little rusty's going here as we shake the cobwebs off, but it is so amazing to watch these guys running around Daytona Speedway. I'm so excited to be here again.
As Kevin DeBrown right now to the pole with a 49.35. One of the big stories that we're going to talk about here as we get into Daytona is our champion, Pedro Mojica, has kind of stepped aside for not only the Xfinity Series, but the Cup Series. And we are not seeing him racing a lot on Sunday and Mondays, more of a part-time basis. Not sure if this is going to be a permanent thing, if it's going to be a just for now type of thing. But that opens this door for a lot of drivers to pounce and win a championship.
Tyler Dalton wants this pole so bad. We were talking with him before coming on air, and he said this is the pole that has eluded him. You and I were talking earlier tonight about the percentage.
Yeah.
It's like
31%.
20% of all starts, he's won the pole.
Yeah, 31%.
This one,
yeah, that's
this one, he just has not been able to do it, and he wants this pole so badly tonight.
And right now, he is on it with a 49.34. Now, he says the pole, he's talking about for the big race, obviously, the Daytona 500K, which is coming up in 2 weeks. Tonight, just a clash, so I'm sure he'll take it as maybe some momentum or something like that. But here's Jimmy Coleman out on track to 54, Trans-Service Chevy Camaro. So obviously we talked about Pedro being story number one that we get to focus on this offseason. But the other one, obviously the Cup car change. The noses on the cars are different. You might have noticed them in the clash on Saturday night, and you're seeing them here as Kevin King goes P2. Get to see Kevin back in the series after his run in the Pro Series. 49.34 with a 9, so he's 7/1000ths off. As Coleman goes to 17th with a 49.37. And that's going to wrap up qualifying just like that. As, again, 10 cars are going to qualify, and it will be Tyler Dalton who gets himself the 811 Pole Award here for the clash tonight. But as we get ready to go heat racing here, Kev, man, like you and I just spent some time with each other as we did a podcast recording, previewing this series. It all starts tonight. We got a lot of new drivers. We got familiar names, but we've got ourselves a class of drivers here that I think could put on a show and make this season one of the biggest in league history.
Yeah, I love the fact that a lot of the veterans are back in and they're ready to go. They've been running the off season. They've been tuning up, getting ready, and they have the wild card in that they don't know the large influx of new drivers for this season. So it's going to make the early season a little tedious for some of them as they get to learn who's who. And you know how it is. All these guys come into a season and they want to establish a pecking order. Who won the championship last year? Doesn't matter.
No. All about right now.
It's day one.
This is
Yeah, they're ready to go.
This is a chance, I think, Kevin, for these new drivers that are here tonight to maybe go out and earn, the respect of these drivers that are used to being here. Get them out there and get them in the draft and let them push, so that come next or 2 weeks from now in the 500, of course, the dual races and stuff. Also, those guys have the opportunity to get the respect and be pushed out there with the veterans.
Yeah, we're going to see who's going to make friends, who's going to be frenemies, and who's going to make enemies tonight. As this is the first showcase. Couple heat races to run. They were talking about trying to accelerate the race to make sure that if there's a caution, they can restart quickly. And it's a great taste. And this is the fun part of the season. One, I have no idea who's in what because some of the paint schemes have changed. And two, look at that car. That is so cool looking.
Yeah, right? Look at the lineup real quickly for this heat race number one here at Daytona. Dustin Hall, who I think could be a driver you see in victory lane. I totally took a guess on him during this podcast, and I see Team Conti is his team name. Oh, I might have made a good guess there. Mike Kelly going to start outside of row number one. Scott Stenzel and Jimmy Coleman there in row two. Bobby Wetzel, Brian Macklin going for 4 this season. He's there in the 30 car in row 3. Justin Mons, Patrick Colby in row 4. Row 5, Matt Rodolasso, I've learned. We were close. And Mike Kelly there in the 10th position. Joey Jatina and Scott Simley there in row number 6. Row 7 as we slide across here, about to go to the green here for 15 laps. You'll see Richard Beasley, Rod Mitten, Patrick Blundell, and Adam Benefield going to be the 16th and final starter for this race. Again, 15 laps. They are green flag, or they are, all the laps will count. So if they have cautions, obviously it's going to shorten it up. But Kevin, you started to mention, Joey said they're going to do everything they can to shorten the pace laps under caution. So you're going to see a lot of very short cautions if we have any.
Yeah, drivers are just going to have to plant the foot and go and see what they can do for every lap. The one thing we've not talked about, dynamic racetrack with the cloud cover that we have here today, that should make an interesting thing to peek at here as green flag drops for the first race of the season. They had to turn one, go up through the gears, and already some shifting and shuffling mid-pack.
As you see, kind of organized up there on that top side right now. As they get going under green, you see Mike Kelly kind of already wrecking Mike Kelly into the wall. What in the world?
Wow.
The outside lane went from organized to wrecked.
That is not the way they anticipated starting the season. A lot of drivers taking evasive action down there as the field still kind of tucked together behind Bobby Wetzel there. Where did Joey Jatina come from? He was out in North 40, and now he's in the mix here. Is
Are
no
they? They're
caution.
still green. As lap 1 in the books, we'll try to get the replayer. Dustin Hall and Scott Stenzel have pulled away, and we actually dragged Tyler Dalton up into the booth right at the right time for this one. The pole sitter for the clash here this evening. Tyler, a little bit of a sentimental win, if you will, or something. Bittersweet. I don't know what the right word to use here is, but obviously you go out there and win the pole, but it's not for the 500.
Yeah, it actually is for the 500. This counts for the Clash and the 500.
Oh, okay.
So,
I did not see that part. Congratulations on that. So you got it.
thank you. Yeah, this is actually a very important poll for me. I know I've won a lot of polls here in Sim 500. The one for this race has always sort of eluded me. Normally Tommy's in here to steal it away from me. He's not here tonight. It's been fun battling him for it too, though. But finally managed to snatch that pole, the most important pole in my opinion of the racing season. So get ourselves locked in tonight and locked in for that front row spot for the 500.
Yeah, you definitely did your part. Now the question is Pedro's not here this season full time, obviously part time for him this season. So you kind of wonder, is this potentially your best chance now to go get a championship?
Well, we'll see. Still chasing that first Cup win. This car, I feel like I'm pretty good in it. Been several chances in the last season where I got close. So hopefully, and I know we got a lot of strong guys coming in, Kevin King, Adam Benefield and stuff, so they're going to make things difficult. Josh Parker as always, Chad. But we'll go out there and definitely give it our all. We had good points finish in all 3 seasons last season.
Obviously, just to update the viewers real quickly, I'm starting to notice an issue with the timing and scoring just for the heat races here, and it's something that has answered a lot of questions all of a sudden here during this race that I was kind of curious of. So we're gonna go with the old road course one right now until we get to the main event. But with that said, Tyler, obviously you're seeing the pack now is all broken up. We're gonna try to get a replay, but I noticed Brian Macklin back here in the 15th position, 1 lap down. The good news tonight, there is a last chance qualifier, so people will have the chance if they wreck out like they just did to get into the main event still.
Yeah, I was watching that along with y'all. I'm not sure what happened there and why the caution didn't come out. It looks like maybe you had one car going backwards, but he was going backwards over 35 miles per hour and then spun to below the yellow line, so maybe that's why it didn't throw the caution.
Let's see the replay here while they're settled down. They go into turn 1. That's Jimmy Coleman, who is pushing the 2 of Mike Kelly. Brian Macklin behind Coleman. It looked, the bumper's hooked. So my first question off of that is that something that you're going to have to get used to with the new noses?
Normally you can push pretty good in these cars. I don't know if that was just, I'm looking back at it, honestly to me looks like Jimmy just hit him a little bit off center there. Mike was coming down the track and maybe Jimmy was coming up a little bit right as they bumped, and it also looked like maybe Macklin was in the back of Jimmy at the same time, so maybe a little bit of a don't push the pusher coating effect there.
Yeah, I mean, it turned Mike's car just like nothing. It just literally just turned it left. Interesting. Well, they'll have the last chance qualifier to get into this main event. So, but Tyler Dalton, the pole sitter here tonight, congratulations, and the pole sitter for the Daytona 500K. So well done on that, well earned. And now you just go turn it into a W in the big race.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Tyler Dalton, as he will start P1 in the Great Sim Race. I don't know what to kind of simulate the Great American Race.
Great American Sim Race. Yeah.
But so far it's been calm now, and this is exactly what I expected to see was a little bit of calmness. Now, here's the question though. You got Dustin Hall, who's got this top side rolling. Jatina was leading there for a minute, but now you've got 7 cars, and only the top 5 are going to advance here before this thing's over with.
And you see Bobby Wetzel down there dropping to the low line, just trying to see what he can learn, whether he could pull the draft, get alongside, pull somebody back. You know, let's not forget, these drivers may or may not have been racing this season at all, so this could be a shakedown for some of them, just trying to like I said earlier, get the cobwebs out. One of the questions I have is you see this lead pack with the double file in the back. Will that draw some of those cars behind them that are 2 seconds back? Blundell, Mons, Mitten, Peters, Colby is out of this race along with Rodaliso. Did I say the name right?
Rodalasso.
Kelly? Say it again.
Rodalasso.
Rodalasso. Okay, so Brian Macklin, he's done. Jimmy Coleman, done. Both of them are laps down. They're not going to factor into this. Caution comes out. Colby, Rodalasso, and Kelly could get back into it. Really, the four that are trying to get up and get a part of this is Blundell, Mons, Mitten, and Peters. They would love to latch on to the back of this group and see if they can get to the top five before this thing comes to an end.
Now, they've actually lost some time just now because earlier you had Blundell up top and they were about 1.8 back. They've actually lost about 4/10 and they're still falling from this lead pack that is 5 cars, and they're even trying to get away from Joey and Wetzel here, who are having to push a little bit. But you got to remember, this car is very aggressive, I guess, for lack of a better word to use right here. When it comes to the draft, you have to be aggressive with the moves you make, or else you could lose the draft.
Yeah, if you're the last car on the draft too, you have to make sure that you're staying within that bubble. If you drop off, you could potentially fall off the pack, and we've seen that kind of happen here as the top four have broken away.
So I've just been told that my daughter Lucy is watching on the broadcast. Hi, Lucy. Love you, sweetie. So I got to get that out. She doesn't get a chance to watch these often because she's usually in bed and stuff. But she likes race cars. I'm working on it. Oh. Benfield about got tangled up there.
So now these drivers back here have a larger group, and the question is, will they be able to parlay that into driving back up? And I have to wonder if, say, Joey dropped back to see if he could pick up some of them. I'm just using Joey Jattina as an example. But it could be that some of these drivers said, I'm going to come back, pick you up, and then we'll run that front group down. But I don't know how it works that way. A lot of things have changed in the offseason, and we'll see whether or not this parlays into an advantage or disadvantage for Joey and Bobby Wetzel, who were hanging on the back of that lead pack in the beginning.
As we're at 5 laps to go right now with Hall leading, you see the guys towards the back of this pack trying to make some moves. Benefield now has fallen to the back of this pack here. And, of course, you know, Wetzel and...
Just saw Justin Mons bang the wall, or maybe no, sorry, it was Patrick Blundell going across the nose of Justin Mons, hammered the wall on the outside right side of that Chevrolet, but he's going to continue on, or Mustang, sorry about that.
It has broken up the pack very much now. It is literally down to about 6 cars right here in this pack, 7 cars, as Joey's trying everything he can. He's got Wetzel there, who is kind of a teammate there in that Sim500 Mafia team. The problem is you have the 83 of Benefield. If you can get, and Benefield's pushing Joey, so if I'm Bobby, get behind the 83 here and drop down there, or if Simile or somebody, because they're getting a pretty big run right now on the bottom side. But I'm already taking the lesson right now that you cannot push in this car. Look at Wetzel's already, look how they've just pulled back Simile off the pack, and then now Wetzel's falling off the pack. And now Dustin Hall's going to pull down there.
This is that dynamic that I was talking about for Wetzel, and I don't know if he can possibly get the pull, and then if he gets a suck up, he'll come faster than everybody else is running right in that draft and be able to do something with it. The good news for him is, as he dropped off, he still has apparently some of that draft. He's going to go down there and pick up the 83 as Simley blocks the move.
Yeah, and then Hall gets down there also. So now you see the packs really kind of pairing up. You see back about 3 seconds, Mitten and Peters trying to push each other, but they're just unfortunately 2 cars. They're not going to catch a pack of 7 unless they wreck. But here's the thing. You got 5 cars for 7 positions. As Brian Wortman jumping in chat saying, that made the clash. How about that, Brian Wortman? Good for you, my man.
How about Joey Jattina from the back of the pack all the way through up here to 3rd right now? I'm going to pick up 2nd. Boy, these cars, they are kiting. And what I mean by that is, as they go down the straightaway, they wobble like a kite in the wind. Left, right, left, right. And that makes it really nervous if you're the driver behind him trying to line up how to hit somebody in the decals. They're going to come up to a couple slower cars.
Oh, and Beasley just got pushed up into the wall as they're coming up on some
Yeah.
lap cars here of Macklin and Mike Kelly. Kelly goes to the apron. Macklin goes to the outside lane. I think as Kelly, I think, is going to try to pick up the pack, but I don't think he's got the momentum. I'm sorry, that's Macklin. But either way, they're going to be coming to the white flag this time by. Dustin Hall's pretty much led all the laps here. He's got Jatina now behind him. So, and now Stenzel, I don't know if he just didn't turn or what the deal is there.
I just don't think he had any grip on the nose and washed up, banged the wall, but now he's going to pull down and he's got Beasley. Will Beasley go with him or Beasley go in the high line?
Stenzel might regret that move.
Beasley in the Tide-looking
Oh!
car with WDB is Stenzel.
He
He's
dropped
down
the
in
hot
no
pocket or
man's land
something.
down there.
That's as Simley going to try to push to 9. That might be that little darting thing we talked about from last season.
Top 5 here, so it's really important for Scott to be able to hook on to the 9 of Wetzel
Joey,
and see if he can push that Mopar. As Joey drops
wants to
down, he's
win.
going to go for the win.
Drag race to the line, the checkered flag, and Dustin Hall gets the win, and a transfer spot goes to Beasley by 3 100ths.
Good race. Good race to the line in that final lap. Way for Beasley. We said he's the super speedway ace to get himself in there. Bobby Wetzel, who was tagged on the back, comes back to score fourth
Yeah,
and get
fourth,
himself
wow.
into the show.
Good finish there. Let's look at it real quickly before they reset it on us. You see the there's the reset. They did it to us. Hate when that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, and the one thing too is you'll notice on the broadcast, and I'm not scared to be transparent about things like this, but obviously you'll see the new graphics and stuff like that have been put together for this season. The one issue I've been having with them is trying to figure out why sometimes my timing and scoring ticker will glitch up. And little do I know, I think it has to do with heat racing, believe it or not. So at least I know now. So we're going to stick with the little ticker on the side right now, and then once we get to the main event, you'll see the full ticker that we've been using on the screen. So bear with us if you like one or the other, or just hang out and just have fun like we are tonight. This is Kevin and I's practice together right here. We haven't been together since Vegas in December to chat.
New field, new cast of characters coming to the track. Dalton, King, Brown, Montesi, Coleman going to be top 5 for this. And these guys watched, as we know, with Tyler sitting in here with us, what happened. And they saw that incidental contact with Coleman. They're not sure whether Macklin pushed him into him or whether he just didn't hit him square. But we talk about this every season. It's note-taking time, right? You're trying to learn as much as you can, because ultimately the big payday comes with the 500K.
It sure does. And that's the big race right there. As you see the starting lineup, cars are on the track. Josh Parker on the pole, the New England driver, and Joey Stone, who I got to talk with, is not related to Kevin, but boy, is he a lively one. Really quickly, I got to figure that out. The potential favorite here for the 500 come next or 2 weeks from now, Anthony Calantoni finished second last season. And he's always good on these super speedways. Cody Giles there on the outside. Robert Fryway the third, and Wesley Donaldson. Gerald Livingston, Stoney Benfield. There's Kevin Stone and Jose Funky Cole Medina. Alan Wyde and Charles Van Schaik on row number 6. And taking a look at the rest of the starting lineup there. Doug Sigmund, Randy Oakham, Ron Holyfield in the Ed Burrell number 21 car this season. So, same format here for the second heat race. It will be 15 laps. Cautions are on, believe it or not. And as they always say in the duels that the first race is different from the second. So will the second one be a little more wild in a pack?
I think so. I just feel like, we got that little breakup in the beginning. And yeah, this is going to be rather interesting here is I think these guys are going to be on top of each other right from the drop.
Our cameras tonight, by the way, presented by TrackCams22.com. You check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com as Parker leads them to the green. Calantoni, Joey Stone is mentioned. There's the 5 of Cody Giles, a similar paint scheme to the 41 I noticed in the last race. But look at this, the inside line all organized already. Everybody to the bottom.
Yeah, right now everybody hugging that traditional double yellow line, unable to pass down there. If you go down underneath and you pass, you have to give that position back. As I don't know, there was not a lot of talk this year about high line versus low line. Sometimes when you get in big packs, drivers say the midline or high line is the place to be, but right here, it looks like the freeway here. This everybody's picking whatever lane they want. 3 wide out in the back with the top 4 or 5 cars getting nose to tail and starting to break away just a touch.
Yeah, you see Gerald Livingston there, 6th position. That's the one thing is 15 laps. You really can't hang back. I mean, you can for a few laps, but then eventually you got to go. And you got a lot of 811 cars out here. I see Kevin Stone in 17. I see, who is that? There's Stoney Benfield, of course, who's a big representative of the 811 crew. The Faster Pastor has his people watching, I believe, tonight. Saw a couple people checking in.
How cool is that to see these cars roaring around the banking and coming off turn 4 to the front stretch at Daytona? I mean, that's just what it's all about. As the season starts, so excited to see the season go with the Clash the other night, and here the sim racing season kicks off with our version of the Clash at Daytona Speedway. And you know, I'm looking at these drivers out in the back. Unlike the other race, they don't seem to be testing that much. Right now, they're showing a little decorum, just kind of staying in line and seeing how the draft's working in the deep pack.
Well, remember, a lot of these teams in the sim or in this league are bigger teams. Like a lot of them have 4, 5, 6 members. So I'm sure there's a few that ran in that first race and they figured out real quickly, you know what, we can't push. You know, where obviously in the beginning of that race, you had Kelly getting pushed by a couple of cars there, and it ended up causing a wreck. So, but let's see really quickly here as
Push.
check up.
Push, and let's define that push.
Right.
Push is hit that bumper and stay on it and shove down the straightaway. A bump, hit right smack dab in the middle, and you're going to propel the car forward, and then the hole that you create creates a vacuum from which it's going to suck you forward.
Right.
The question is, when someone has a run, are they going to lift? And we got one sideways, 2 cars out into the wall. See the Randy Yoakum car involved as they continue to be green going off of turn 4. 15 involved.
Yeah, Mazina's looks like she's in the wall, and that's the second time now I've pulled a driver up in a wreck as they doing it. So maybe that's a theme night. Don't be pulling people up during green flag, or we might have a wreck. And the unfortunate part is the guy that was in the first wreck is the guy I pulled up in the booth, and that's Mike Kelly. Mike, I know, obviously, good test event here tonight, so to say, with the new noses and stuff. Obviously, no warning that's coming. What just happened there? But is that a sign of maybe with these noses we're not able to push? Uh-oh. Mike might have stepped away.
Could be.
But we'll leave Mike in the room here with us for a second.
Here
here.
I am.
There he is. Yeah, Mike, I don't know if you heard the question there, but is this a potential sign that maybe we can't push with these noses?
What, you mean me getting wiped out? Well, I don't know, because he was a little off center on me.
Right.
But we ran a race here. I think I've ran a race here since the new build, but maybe I haven't. So I don't know. I didn't do much practice tonight because we were, doing qualifying mock runs. So didn't see much pushing other than, the other thing when not only did he hit me off center there, I was just shifting into 5th gear at the same time. So, but it was like absolutely simultaneous. Right when I went to shift, I started to spin out.
And it was so weird. The part that caught me was how the car looked when it spun. It wasn't like one of those just pushes. It was like it pushed you around, but it was almost like it pushed you like I don't know. It's like a square maybe was just like getting turned instead of like just a straight spin. I don't know if that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but it just, your car looked weird the way it got spun.
It was almost like I got magnetized to the inside.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Pulled my nose right down to it, and then unfortunate deal, but we'll see what happens in the consolation race.
At least we know you're fast, right? As you'll know what you're doing up there. But no, I just figured I'd check in with you, see what you were thinking and what you might have felt or saw out there. So, but tough break, man, and go win the LCQ for us.
All right, thanks for having me up.
You too,
Good
buddy.
luck.
Thanks, man. Mike Kelly, I'm glad he was able to figure out what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
because
He
that's
was right
that's
with you.
exactly right. I mean, it was a magnet almost.
Yeah, he described it very well, quite honestly. And it's funny because you think a driver in a car probably has no clue what's going on. No, they know exactly
Right.
what the story is.
So a couple of new updates. I want to show you guys a few things now. I still am working on some camera updates for the next gen car, because this is the only next gen broadcast I now do is this league. But I do want to take you inside the car here, and if I get a chance to, want to show you the shot of the gearbox of the transaxle, because now, along with the GT cars that we have in iRacing, you now can watch the shifter shift in the next gen car.
And they don't typically shift at this racetrack.
No, they
but
won't do
Mike
it here.
was in the first lap coming,
We'll do it
coming
here.
through. Yeah. So, complexion of this race, where we stand. It was an incident. Lap 5, Alan Wild, Randy Yoakum got together. Doug Sigmund and Ron Hollifield lost the draft. Lap 6. Lap 7, 10-car pack breakaway. And, you know, any of those cars that are off the pace, Sigmund, Hollifield, Medina, Yoakum, Allen Wild, I think they probably could run in the draft if we find a caution. Out front, the cars were running 2x2x2 all the way through back to position 10. Right now, they've kind of single filed out, a couple of them to the high side here, but as the laps tick off, to me, Chris, it seems like this one has a little more patience, these drivers.
Well, and they always say the first race is not like the second one, and vice versa. And that's where I think we're seeing now, yeah, these cars are getting side by side. Now they're pushing or whatever. They're trying to bump draft, I guess, if they can. But here it's a matter of find your friends. I mean, because you've got Parker up there at Calantoni. That's team name with Sim500 Mafia there. You've got the 7 and the 5 identical paint schemes, so you can only assume they're teammates. Then you've got the 91 up there of Donaldson. You would think he would work with Calantoni, but then you got Kevin Stone, and then you got Stoney Benfield back there in 811 cars that'll probably work together and that kind of thing. So to a point, and there goes Wesley right on cue. There's Kevin going to the top, or Anthony going to the top, and going to have that push from Wesley here.
Yeah, top line looks pretty stout here coming off of turn 2 to the super stretch. Is the bottom line a little out of shape. Stone got sideways off
Van
the bottom.
Schaik in this Gerald Livingston going spinning into the infield here. Bump draft gone wrong as they carry on, but Gerald Livingston spins at the bottom. Van Schaik's going to lose the draft. And we stay green.
Livingston's going to call it a moment as he goes in and pits his car.
They went by Robert.
Well, that's too bad for Gerald. He's having a decent run. He's been running really well lately, and I expect to see a little something out of him this season.
Let's see what happened real quickly here. I saw Friery come up from the bottom, it looked like, from that shot, but let's get a closer shot real quick of this. Trying to go to the wreck's happening behind him. Get you a better shot. I'm getting there.
Yeah, okay.
Let's try it again. How you doing it this way? So yeah, you see, Friery gets such a good run. Oh, and then him and Gerald kind of hook each other, and it sent Robert up into the 96 and into the 23. So just unfortunately, it looked like a push gone wrong, or not a push gone wrong, but just some net code maybe with a little bumper hook.
I want to stick a pin in that moment and talk about aerodynamics. When the car from the bottom came up across the back, it has a tendency sometimes, and the driver in front is just driving straight along, to pull the car left, right, around. On this speedway, the air does move the cars sometimes. I don't know if he actually tagged the right rear corner or if he sucked the car over. But you will see, as we see it right here with Friery and the 17 of Stone, they're running 5th and 6th, and they're having that same kind of aero tussle here in the back as the top group drives away from them. So, yeah, there's a lot more at play than what you see from an aero standpoint, is Stone coming down trying to get to the back of Friery and see if they can pull themselves back up into that lead pack.
So 2 laps to go. Wesley Donaldson up here in the lead. And yeah, and Stone and Friery just hurt themselves running side by side. I mean, that right there is how you take yourself out of winning a race or getting yourself into the top 5. Is now you see Stoney getting side by side with Giles, as that's going to be a battle right there for the final transfer spot as they come to the white flag. Final lap. As Calantoni, we talked about him on Super Speedways. This man, as a matter of fact, we don't want to spoil too much about this podcast that we did, the Scalicast, but need we say 2 of the drivers we think might be ones to watch this season are leading this pack right here.
Yeah. And for these guys out in the back, don't lose hope, because if these guys scuffle up here trying to wrestle that last position away, it is possible that you could sneak around here in the final 100 foot and get yourself a top 5. So if I'm Friery or anybody else, I keep my foot on the gas as the top 3 have broken away, then a second set of 3, and they're still side by side for that final position.
Top 3 are going to stay single file. I think the battle is going to be for 5th as they come to the line. Calantoni wins it, and Giles going to get 5th as both he and Stoney wreck. Stoney was up against the battle there because he had 2 teammates right there pushing each other. And Stoney did everything he could to side draft him. And it just did not work there. But Anthony Calantoni going to get the win in heat race number 2.
Jersey proud, baby.
And that's going to put us to the consolation race. So, and just like that, everything just flies right through here. So real quickly, let's show you Heat 1's results. So you can show you the 5 drivers that advanced from that. That would be the bottom half Scala. There we go. So Hall and... I love when things don't cooperate with me. Hall, Benefield, they all go on. As Calantoni's name's going to stay on the board, apparently.
Tina
Wetzel and Beasley. I got Calantoni's name sitting on the screen here. There's your top 5. Those 5 advance to the main event from heat race number 1. From heat race number 2 is Calantoni, Donaldson, Parker, Stone, in Giles. Your top 5 there. So the rest of these guys will run in the last chance qualifier, or the Consi, as some like to call it. As we move to the starting
5
line.
Chevys, 3 Fords, 2 Toyotas make the cut.
In a partridge in a pear tree. Stoney Benfield going to start outside of Scott Simley. And basically the starting order for this race is set off of where you finished in the 2 heat races. So the inside row will be from 6th place down in heat race 1. The outside row, 6th place down all the way to the outside row. So Simley and Benfield, Stenzel, Friery to 3rd. Rod Minton and Kevin Stone in row 3. Row 4, Mike Peters, Ron Holyfield. Justin Mons and Charles Van Schaik there in row 5. Matt Rodolosco and Doug Sigmund, row 6. Row 7, Patrick Colby, Jose Medina, Mike Kelly, Randy Yoakum, Brian Macklin, Alan Wild, Patrick Blundell, Gerald Livingston, Jimmy Coleman. The 21 starters. What have we learned so far, Kev?
Chaos.
Yeah.
It's not as predictable. You know, one of the key takeaways phrase was Mike Kelly talking about the fact that there wasn't a lot of on-track practice with a bunch of cars. And I think that's starting to show up here is drivers really don't know what it's like to run in a big pack. You only know that when you participate in a race of this nature. And there's a lot to learn here for these drivers, especially in this race. You could see somebody win coming out of the consolation based on what they learned from running in big packs like this.
And one guy who has figured it out already how to make the pass for the lead, Anthony Calantoni, 2nd place finisher in the 500K last season, something he probably doesn't want me to say anymore, but needless to say, you get yourself a heat win here tonight as we get ready to race in the Clash. Got to feel pretty good there.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. It was just good to see what the car was going to do in some other cars around me, since we all ran single car practice laps there for the qualifying event. But it felt pretty good. It felt pretty stable. Saw my teammate there, Wesley, coming up on the outside, so I said, might as well go up there and join him.
Absolutely, man. So what have you noticed out here on the pack so far in this couple of laps you got to run there, and then this first heat race? It just seems like a little bit of chaos out there and a lot of learning going on.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of guys are more unstable than others. I felt like I really wasn't all over the track, even with Wesley pushing me a little bit. But I guess it's just going to be getting used to the setup and the track conditions changing every lap.
One thing I just watched on that start, Mike Kelly just played pick your row and was jumping all over people and going around them, and is already the 5th car in that outside lane as Mike actually started 15th and is up to 9th on the start there. Is Friery going to chop down in front of Stoney Benfield? Man, you make that move, you need to make it. That's one of those, you don't want to get stuck in the middle like that. Oh, and
No,
Macklin
absolutely
and
not.
Gerald Livingston with problems. They're over here in the Jeff Bodine section of the track. Off camera, Macklin toes back, so he's going to be out. So is Gerald Livingston. And Randy Oakham's coming to pit road. So what in the world? Brian Macklin's going to wonder what's going on here.
Had trouble again for Wild in the 15, the 24 or 54. This field's all broken up. That's rather interesting. But, up front, there's still plenty of cars here trying to make their way into the main event.
You know what I'm seeing again here? Is that wreck. Jose Medina in that black and gold 24. Just the way that car turns. Yeah, I don't know what in the world. Look like just contact in the 30 trying to go up the middle. Is it me or is these cars just seem kind of wonky the way they're getting turned?
There was a point when the crash zone was not exactly dialed in and you thought you had more space, and actually you ended up making contact with the other cars. So these drivers, you're going to have situational awareness where they put their front ends as they line up to the cars next to them, going around them. If you pull up and around somebody and your left front's next to their right rear quarter, you might want to leave a little more space. But, we were talking about how the cars are kiting back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
It's you're almost sometimes not in control of it.
Anthony, is that what you're feeling too?
Yeah, I mean, it was easy for me because I had the clean air
Right.
for those last 5, but that's what I'm seeing here, Chris. I'm seeing, when you're deeper in the pack, the air is just so turbulent that it's making the cars unstable.
Well, obviously, great job tonight. We'll let you go take a break and go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do before the big race, and 40 laps, see if you can go win yourself a Clash.
We're going to try to put the newly designed Talking Giants Cup car in victory lane tonight.
There you go. Well, hey, best of luck.
Thank you, Chris. Hopefully we'll be talking to you later on tonight.
Sounds good, buddy. Anthony Calantoni. Ooh, somebody got the wall back there. The winner in heat race number 2. Look who is second on the outside lane. Mike Kelly has come through the field as Stoney Benfield chops the nose assembly. The faster pastor said, I don't need no mirror.
Yeah, I think these guys they know they have to go no hards, ball, no holds barred. As you look at this, some troubles there for Ron Hollifield. He got stuck in the sucker hold. He was running second car bottom line and ended up going through the middle. And, look, fight another day. I think he did an extremely smart thing of just letting everybody roll back now. He's easing back up to the back. And
Sorry.
these guys are testing, scraping the paint off the wall over there in the entry of turn 3.
Kevin Stone pushing Doug Sigmund. Sigmund's car was all kind of sideways, and I could not help but notice one of the newer chicken chains that is going on around the United States anymore. A place called Raising Cane's, and that is on the 49 car, 3rd place inside lane. Good chicken, by the way. And that 49, that is Matt Rodolasso.
Yeah, I know. I think, we were talking about how these cars are dancing around. The 92
Sorry.
came down and clipped
Oh,
Lundell.
they finally wreck. There they go.
Airborne.
And we still don't have a caution. And they're in the middle of the track.
Yeah, the 75 just almost got skimmed. He's trying to get back up to speed. And Blundell, who was in that other incident, he rolled right through there. I don't think he has any damage, but he needs some track position. Colby's off the pace. That really spread the field out here as the top 5 are getting away.
Once again, a little net code there from the 77 and 04, and then Kevin tries to get the 04 going and just turns him. Unfortunately, he ends up on his side, and others get involved, as mentioned. Yoakum and Stone and Sigmund looks like. I'm seeing Justin Monza 41 to 92 involved. of Rod Mitten, as you mentioned. So some others involved in that, but it looks like the mistake has been made not to turn cautions on maybe in the heat races. You know what, though? This is the first time I think they've done heat races for a race like this in Sim 500, so I'm gonna just put this out there. Mistakes are going to be made the first time you do a heat race event because I've done them myself. It is not easy. As, oh, look out, Mike Kelly going for, Simley, I should say, going for some gold, but six
If I'm
cars.
these guys here, I really want to make sure I protect my car to the end. I'd be a little leery in this front pack of trying to take any risks. Because if you mess up and you cause a caution, then you bring the entire field with you. So,
Well, right now you've got the 6 cars here racing for 5 positions. It is between Simley and Robert Fryery III right now, who raced for that 5th and 6th position right now. So Charles Van Schaik, Mike Kelly, Rod Alasso, and Peters. I'm sorry, that's Peters actually in the 95 car, that blue and red. The 49, one of those WWE cars is Rod Alasso, and I say that because I noticed there's a wrestler on the hood. Screenshot, we'll find out who it is. From here, it looks like the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels. So who's he going to give the Sweet Chin music to tonight? We'll find out.
these guys up in that front pack, right? They really just need to mind their P's and Q's, and then on that final lap, make their move, and they should be, at least in the hunt. All the drivers behind them are like, please, somebody, roll bar padding. I see the fence coming loose. Something. give me a moment to get me back in there.
So I think the 49 and 95 might be teammates. If they are, I can understand here the 49 kind of blocking for the 95, who's going to get to the outside door. If I'm Simley, you got to come down now. Yep. Get those teammates together here. If you're Fryery, you need to go to the top here because the run is there. 95 to the lead. And unfortunately, Robert waited too long to make that move.
Mike Peters to the lead. Van Schaik slips back into third. So as much as he lost the lead, he's still right in the hunt here.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Mike Peters is racing a chicken car. And in the photo, he's got a Monster shirt on with a pizza.
Yeah.
You got it all covered here. All right.
All he needs is a cup of Dunkin' Donuts and have it.
Pretty much. As you see the 2 teammates working with each other, the 3 teammates, Fryery, going to be hung out as Peters goes to victory lane in the Conti race, and Scott Simley will be the final driver in to the 811 Clash here at Daytona.
I would not have predicted any one of these races. The fact that it looks like a conveyor belt with cars all over the racetrack, I just wouldn't have expected the packs to break up and so much beating and banging, but it just goes to show from a headspace. One, we heard what he said. They haven't run in a pack. Anthony was talking about that. And 2, unpredictable. I think we're going to see an unpredictable event here tonight. Any single person lining up could potentially win this thing.
All right. Well, we're going to step away real quick as we get ready for the main event. We're going to hear the national anthem, hear a word from 811, and we'll come back for the start here of the Clash at Daytona as you're watching Sim 500 on the Captain Esports Network.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land brave.
This tree is going to look great here.
Did you call 811 to protect your underground utilities?
I can't wait to see these roses come up.
Dig, dig, dig! Wait, we forgot to call 811.
Before you dig, make sure you can. Call 811 to know what's below. It's up to all of us to protect the ones we love.
All right, back we are here at Daytona as we get you ready for the Clash. As they're in a warm-up session right now, getting ready for the race. I know they're going through the rules and stuff for the race, and I think they're going over like some of the issues that happen there is with the caution or no caution, that kind of thing. But either way, we had 3 wild heat races there from the last chance to heat race number 1 to heat race number 2. But Kevin, I think we're in line for 40 laps of wildness here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, one of the things that I see is if you're in this race, you need to do whatever you can to stay in that top pack. I believe we're going to have cautions here, but I would want to just be hammered down from the drop of the green flag. No points on the line. It is bragging rights to start the season with the first win, and I know every single driver here thinks they could win here tonight, so this should be rather exciting.
So let's go through and see who is where in the lineup tonight. So the top 10 qualifiers, we go back to qualifying a little bit ago, they made the race automatically. Tyler Dalton, Kevin King. More importantly for those 2 drivers right there, that is the front row for the Daytona 500K coming up in 2 weeks. They did the qualifying, and they have put both races together when it comes to the top 2. So congrats to Tyler Dalton and Kevin King. They will be the pole sitters for the race. Tyler getting his first Daytona pole. Kevin Brown, Mike Montesi, Chad Coleman, Joe Hudson, Mark Jorgensen Jr., Nelson Rivera, Brian Wortman, David Comstock. Those 10 drivers were in on qualifying. The rest of the drivers, they had to go into the heat races and get the show on the road. In heat race number 1, Dustin Hall, Adam Benefield, who started last, by the way, Joey Jatina, Bobby Wetzel, Richard Beasley got in to the main event from that race. Heat race number 2, again, took the top 5. Anthony Calantoni, Wesley Donaldson, Josh Parker, Joey Stone, Cody Giles there. And in the consolation race, same situation as the first 2. Mike Peters, Matt Rodolasso, Charles Van Schaik, Mike Kelly, and Scott Simley, the 25 official racers that will race in the main event here coming up here in a few minutes. Now, earlier, we had a chance to talk with our pole sitter. I did not get a chance to see if... I'm just looking real quickly to see if this is Kevin King, because for some reason the names do not show up full in Discord for me sometimes. So I'm looking down at team name. Is that Kevin King down there you're seeing, Kevin?
Peek.
What's that?
You?
Yeah.
I'm going to peek, yeah.
Okay, he's going to peek as we get ready to wrap up. We're going to try to talk to Kevin about qualifying second in this race, so forgive me for the little issues there. It's just sometimes people's names don't come up in full. And I have to go
Kevin DeBrown.
That is Kevin DeBrown with the photo. Okay, so it's not Kevin King. So it doesn't look like Kevin's in here. So, all right, well, congratulations, Kevin, on starting second in this Daytona 500K coming up here on February the 19th. That's Monday night. Right now, though, we get to set the starting lineup for the main event this evening. It's exactly how it is set up. The top 10 qualifiers from qualifying, they are the 10 drivers to start in the first 10 spots, and it goes by the heat races. Tyler Dalton and Kevin King going to be on the front row. Kevin DeBrown, Mike Montesi in row 2. Row 3, Chad Coleman and Joe Hudson. Mark Jorgensen Jr. and Nelson Rivera, row 4. Row 5, Brian Wortman and David Comstock. Dustin Hall and Anthony Calantoni, they'll take row number 6. Mike's responding to his paint situation. Mike said, don't judge me. I think that's what he's trying to say. My paint is jacked. Don't judge me. Haven't logged into iRacing in a month. He had a lot of updates. That sounds familiar. Are you Mike? Kevin? Adam Benefield and Wesley Donaldson, row 7. Row 8, Joey Jatina, Josh Parker. Bobby Wetzel, Joey Stone, Richard Beasley, Cody Giles, Mike Peters, and Matt Rodolasso in row 11. Row 12, Charles Van Schaik and Mike Kelly. And the final starter, Scott Simley, in the 25th and final position. As we look at the race information tonight, 40 laps making up the main event, and the usual iRacing default weather on the track. Of course, it's in the middle of the day, so track temp's actually 125 degrees Fahrenheit right now. And reminder, you can check out sim500.com for all the information, all the leagues going on right now. I know the Cup Series is full, I believe, but you never know when somebody might drop out and spots might open up. So there's so many other series, though, from the Trans-Surface Truck Series to Xfinity cars to the GOAT Series that's runs Thursday and Saturday. So make sure you go check it out at sim500.com. Kev, how are we feeling?
Nervous. If I'm sitting in one of these race cars, I'm nervous. You want to have a good opening to tell people who you are, especially if you're one of the new guys. And I'm nervous and just watching for them. I have the energy coming through the screen here. And yeah, they're getting last minute coaching from the chief, Mr. Joey Jatina, who operates the series, and these guys are, I'm sure, pretty excited to see if they can get themselves a win here to start the season.
Shout out to Miss Weeks, also TS Richie 1, Leah, Colby watching. Let's see who else. Brian Wortman checked in. Aaron Thomas checking in. Audrey Mabry. Who else? Marcus Ice, cool name. Mustian checking in there. Voodoo Graphics and Designs. Matthew Cloquet, Mike Peters, and all the viewers watching tonight. Sit back and enjoy the clash at Daytona. Sim500 Racing at Daytona.
Green, 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 hammered down, and this is that tense moment that Mike Kelly told us about as they come up through the gears and try to get to the back straightaway. You see a couple of cars changing lane, but for the most part, everybody tucked in line. They know this one's a little bit longer. You can take a breath in the beginning, get yourself situated, and, well, Chris, I think some of them are going to see if they can find their teammates early on.
I thought they were going to try 3 wide up the middle there, that 48 car of, or the 43 car, that is, of, Joe threw me off of that paint. I thought it was the 48 as Kevin King had taken a lead, but Montesi drops down and wants to lead this first lap from the inside lane. Side by side to drag race, and you see the cars getting loose already.
Yeah, some evasive action out of turn number 4 coming across the line there. Everybody seems to gather it up. They're all still together. I think we have not lost any cars as lap number 1, Kevin King in the number 29 pulled over with Nelson Rivera, David Comstock, Anthony Calantoni, and Mike Montesi in the 4. Your top 5 across the line, but that changes just about every 100 feet on a racetrack.
Yeah, pretty much. As you see the 22 of Nelson Rivera, David Comstock also there with him.
That inside low, that inside row, man, that's going to be formidable. If those 3 could stay out of trouble between Parker, Donaldson, and Calantoni, you got 3 fast cars locked nose to tail, and I think they would work very well together here to see if they could push one of those 3 to the win.
Kevin King rolling through the top side right now with Rivera and Comstock, and you see the 9 car back there. That, of course, being Bobby Wetzel, as you mentioned, Montesi, and others. As they try to figure out the groove, you got 4 cars that have fallen off the pack as those guys are trying to, I think, get all this settled out and figure out who's going to be where when it's all said and done. But right now, it's, well, I was going to say it's calm, but here goes the 95 up the middle, back there towards the back, trying to make some headway here.
Yeah, right now, everybody's kind of content to be nose to tail. You see cars getting loose or having problems out of turn number 4 just about every lap. And if you get a little squirrely, the car behind you needs to make sure that they look in the rearview mirror as they check up, or you're going to get run over.
And obviously, yes, we are having some issues with our timing and scoring, so forgive me as I try to get it up and running here the right way. And but 4 laps in the book series, you see Calantoni with help from the 91 of Wesley Donaldson, the 81 of Josh Parker, that 3-car tandem from earlier in the heat race, working together and pushing to the front.
Jorgensen Jr. had a little problem out of turn 4 last time by. Right now, he's tucked in behind Joey Jattina, got up, scraped the right side against the wall. Doesn't look like it did any appreciable damage to that car. He continues to run somewhere right there near the top 10 as that bottom line stacks up. It goes all the way back. Tyler Dalton whacked in the back, but he's able to keep it straight as he had a handful there a moment out of turn number 2 as they go to the back straightaway. Boy, I'm telling you, these cars look like they are a complete handful here tonight.
Yeah, they're a little evil right now. You see the two of Mike Kelly back there, Tyler Dalton trying to get this thing figured out. The 95 of Peters there, and there's the 49 of Rodolasso up front there, or I should say the outside lane, working his way to the front. But yeah, these guys trying to get the feel of what is going to happen here in the race, and this is great testing right here.
Yeah, I just don't know what to make of this. It's so unusual, the instability of the cars in the pack, specifically how they're moving around, how they're bumping. If you lose a little traction, it just drops like a stone back to the car behind you. And, you know, we've not talked about this dynamic, Chris, but when you're riding in the car, you're tucked up to the bumper in front of you. You can't see what's going on out the windshield beyond the nose. And so when trouble happens and you're right on top of each car right there in front of you, behind you, trouble happens extremely quick here at Daytona International.
Yeah, so 6 laps going to be in the books this time by as they continue side by side as Kevin King continues to roll on that top side with Rivera just being patient there behind him, Comstock and others doing a pretty good job here. You see the pack of about those 21 cars in this pack right now. We ride with Jorgensen.
Right there when he tucks up tight to the car in front of him, you can tell he can't see any of the cars in front of him, but there's about 8 or 9 of them up there, and you're really just in a trust situation. The good news is you have the cream of the crop, right? A lot of these drivers up front, they're veterans. Kevin King, certainly, Rivera. David Comstock, he's a perennial top 6 rider, and you know he's not getting in trouble. It's Tyler Dalton against the wall here at the start-finish line. I don't know if that was just a little bump that shoved him up there. He was able to gather it up, but he's going to lose quite a few positions. Hopefully he'll just tuck in on the draft here, take a deep breath, and wind her back up and get her going again.
Yeah, speaking of bumps, the guy that you might argue is Mr. Aggressive when it comes to pushing, that 93 car back there, Kevin Brown. He is one that if you ever need somebody to give you a lift to the front, look at these moves right here from Kevin. He's going to get right up here, make the moves he needs to make, and he will get behind somebody and he will shove you. And when I say shove you, he'll push you to I-95 off of turn 1 if needed to get you to the lead or wherever you need to go. He is not afraid to put the bumper to work. So 8 laps complete.
Just take a breath and soak it in.
Oh, there goes Mike Kelly. That's Mike Kelly that goes spinning back across the track. Caution is coming out. Oh, no. And Simley, his teammate, clobbers him.
Wow, that is just... Sometimes you're the bug and other times you're the windshield. Holy cow, that was terrible luck for that team.
I wonder, well, you know what? These cars aren't the easiest to stop.
Yeah, you wonder why Mike didn't lock it down.
Kevin.
But quite frankly, there's just nothing he's going to do. When he's in spin mode here, the car is wide open and not a lot of control to get the car to... You're really just counting on the friction of the tires scraping the track to slow you down, and he killed that Axalta number 2. It is destroyed.
Add Charles Van Schaik to the list there of cars involved. As I look over here at Turn 1 Heroes, we have Charles Van Schaik, Mike Kelly, Scott Simley. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a probably uncomfortable channel right now to be hanging out in. So caution out for the first time.
And good news for a handful of these guys who were off the back. Everybody kind of gets to reset, come back in, join the fray.
That's
any reason to pit? Can't think of any.
I mean, does tires actually matter? I mean, with this
Nobody
car, the
made
way it's
any comments
driving.
through
I
any
mean,
of practice in the race, but I don't know. I call me DW. Sure, give me 4. I'll take them. I'm coming.
Yeah, right. Leandro, see EJ O'Rourke's watching, Fuller watching, Bob Gillenwater checking in. The whole crew of people.
Gillenwater, yes.
Gillenwater.
A couple of them heading to pit road. Okay. Only a couple takers, though.
Yeah,
Now the
Kevin-
back half of the field starts to peel off.
It looks like Kevin King, Josh Parker. Into the
Kind of
pits.
surprised at that call. Are you?
No, not really. I mean, in a way, what do you have to lose right now? You still got 30 laps in the race. It's a pack. You can get up in there and go. I mean, it might give you more actual maneuverability amongst the cars to have those fresher tires. That was kind of the reason I thought about it. It might hold you from being all squiggly. Plus, you don't take gas. You don't need the gas. It might tighten the car up a little bit. Couple options. You see Tyler Dalton
I am
with that.
going to do my Las Vegas gamble and say nope. Behind the mess, right? These guys were up front. Most of the time, the problem happens when the race is under control, like we saw, somewhere from 4th, 5th, 6th on back. And now these guys are in the eye of the storm because they pitted. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but I don't know. They were in control of the race. I'm kind of surprised they were able to reconcile giving it away, but and a couple of them decided to stay out, so we'll be able to find out towards the end of this whether that made any difference whatsoever.
We will find out. As a matter of fact, let's step away real quick and hear a word from 811. Come back and get you ready for a restart. 30 laps to go into Clash here at Daytona.
When do you plan on putting in that new fence we've been talking about since last summer?
I guess I could start tomorrow.
Protect the ones you love and protect your buried utilities by contacting 811 before you dig, either by phone, the web, or the NC811 app. Know what's below before you dig. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
All right, back at Daytona. Caution out for a wreck with Mike Kelly, and unfortunately, the Turn 1 heroes not looking like heroes right now after that incident there. A disappointing night for Kelly and Simley and those guys there. As we come to 1 to go this time, you see Cal and Tony going to take the top side. So we had 12 cars come to pit road. Tyler Dalton give me the first one. Right. Oh, guess who's back? Kevin's back. I pointed to you. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you see my answer or not. It's interesting. All right. And one thing also you can do while you're there is I just put another message out there, and you can click on that live timing button that I just put out there. It's a link. It is a good link, trust me. Actually is the timing and scoring that you can see right now from my screen. That obviously the ticker part's not cooperating. I apologize for that, but we're just going to go and put the other one up and let that one go running here as we come to the green flag here at lap number 12 with Anthony Calantoni leading this race. Wesley Donaldson down on the inside lane. David Comstock, Rivera, Montesi, your top 5. But yeah, you can modify that link down there that I've listed for you guys to set up whatever telemetry you want for you to see. And it comes fresh off of my system to you. So You'll be able to see like who's got what pit stops and who's done what, who's got the best lap times, who's got the worst, and whose car looks like a Tide ride with WBD diecast on it, and whose car has 811 on it. Well, I think that was one of those tag team starts, Kev, where I think he was trying to get in front of Wesley. And how do you do that? You get the jump at the beginning and then get down in front of him. But as you see, that Monster Energy car to the outside lane, David Comstock gets pushed from Wetzel. Wetzel's been pretty sporty here tonight.
I'm not surprised when Bobby wins, because when he shows up any given night, he's running in the top 10, just wide open. But he's a really clean racer. It's, you know, every once in a while he might nick a fender or do something like that, but don't ever question whether that 9 has speed. He's always in the mix if he needs to go.
That is for sure. As they battle side by side here for the front, and it's only taken me all of 12 laps, Kev, to make sure your mic wasn't on tonight.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. So the good news is we did not hear Kevin singing Eminem on the air.
Do do do.
Oh, 3 wide is
Yeah. So here comes the 81, shoving the 29, and as we said, they can lock in together. Tyler Dalton's been kind of quiet in this race, riding out of the trouble. Oh, hold on.
Mike Peters there was all out of shape as they are 3 wide, almost 4 wide. Hey, checkers or wreckers, boys.
Well, we wondered whether Donaldson, King, Parker had what it took to get back up here. And look, they're right in that middle lane because, again, they can't go through the bottom. And they're not afraid to split the gap.
Oh, and the wall goes
Beasley.
Beasley.
Have a crash with the Beasley around.
Beasley and
Joey
Jatina
caught up.
Second caution. And some others, I think, were involved in that.
Yeah, not really sure what that was about there. Just we'll go back and take a peek at that, but
see, Beasley's down on the bottom side. He's got that red
push
and
going wrong.
Yeah, who's that red and black car there behind him? Is that Coleman?
Oh yeah.
Oh no, Joey got turned. It looks like Dustin Hall involved. It looks like Ad Desev Wortman goes up there and just kind of uses the wall to get around it. Let's get a better view of this.
Joey knew that the one was up as far as he was when they came together.
Well, we're gonna find out. Bar Chaser.
Yeah, Jatina's here. He thinks he has a hole, and the one gets a run.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the 14 was coming down at this same moment. And this is what we were talking about, those. You might say, well, he flat ran him over. When you have the draft, and all of a sudden the car feels like it picks it up, it runs 6-8 miles an hour faster. You could see how much Tyler closes in here, and he kind of eased out of it. But watch how fast the one comes right here. That's the draft, and that little pickup is unexpected. And if Joey looked up, saw the space, and started to pull down at the same time that gap closed, well, you see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. And I got to stop because I want to show, obviously, you mentioned earlier the contact patch that these cars have with each other. I mean, obviously, you know, Joey looks like he kind of settles in here, and here comes the one with the momentum, and Dalton with the momentum, and then I mean, there is the slightest of contact. But you know, one thing have read about these cars in real life is that somehow, in some reason, right at this point, the left rear almost wants to magnetize itself to the right front of the car. I think I've heard about this in real life too, where like it seems like these cars might not touch, but they end up touching because of the way the cars are. And you see how it spins everybody around, and Coleman got a piece of that too, it looks like.
I've also experienced where two cars in front of you go sweep to the left, and you'll be driving straight. Next thing you know, your car veers left.
Yeah.
And so the dynamic of the air, real life and or how it's modeled here, is just tricky. And sometimes, quite frankly, you're scratching your head as much as the next guy, and you're saying, "What the heck happened?" I can't really explain it.
Now 23 laps to go as we are closer and closer to halfway. The laps aren't counting, by the way, under caution. So a reminder, here's the schedule for Speed Weeks coming up here these next couple of weeks. So tonight is the Clash, obviously. Next Monday night, we will have qualifying for the Daytona 500K. Of course, the first two spots already locked in. So basically what happens is the cars qualifying next week are just to set the spots for the dual races. That'll run later on that night. And we'll have two 40-lap dual races to set the field. And then we'll come back the following Monday night, the 19th, for the Daytona 500K. And Brian Macklin going for his fourth straight win in that race. So obviously make plans to stick around these next couple Mondays here from Daytona as we get going in the Cup schedule. Of course, if you haven't been around for the 811.org Xfinity Series, we completed our fifth race of the season yesterday as Mac McMillan picked up his second straight win over in that series in the 5 races. They're off next Sunday, of course, for the big game, and we'll return at Atlanta Motor Speedway the following Sunday for that event. So some interesting racing already going on in here at Sim500. If you're interested in the league, check out sim500.com and be a part of the action here at Sim500. Of course, we got Sunday and Monday nights here on the Captain Esports Network, and then, of course, other great companies broadcasting the other series throughout the week, as, of course, I move on to other series throughout the week on my end.
This always seems a touch irrelevant, yet it is rather interesting to look. Bobby Wetzel running third, up 17 from his starting spot. Mike Peters running 6, up 23. Wesley Donaldson up 16. You see Adam Benfield running 11th. He's up 30. So as these drivers come through, some of them, they just made it into the cut, but here they have a chance, like we talked about earlier. You could come out of the consolation and win this race.
Oh, absolutely. All you got to do is be there, survive the wrecks, and you can be a part of the celebration in victory lane when lap 40 completes. But as we said, you got to get to the finish first. In order to finish first, you have to first to finish.
Nice.
And of course, on the
right now, 23 drivers of the 25 still in the mix. 2 drivers, Mike Kelly and Scott Simley, the teammates. We saw their demise, but everybody else. And one of the advantages of these caution laps is the fact that drivers have the opportunity to fix their cars. And if you're tucked into the draft, you could have a dinged up nose, a dinged up side, a dinged up fender. You could probably hold your own here. So we'll see some of these cars that were involved in a couple of these skirmishes, whether they'll be able to stay put, but I think they're going to be racing.
As we go back green, I think this is a good chance, Kev. Let's welcome it back with open arms. Shall we turn it up here at the Clash? All right, big wreck. Never mind. As 5, 6 cars go wrecking into the infield.
Yeah, a couple cars.
Stand by for turn it up.
A little pinball.
Woohoo, Pinball Wizard. Benefield looks like getting through there. Tyler Dalton may be involved. I see some damage on that 19.
Yeah, it looks like the 38, maybe a little shove to the 6th. Could have kicked that off. Went across, tagged the 83. So Coleman, Montesi, Dalton, and a couple others. I don't think there were some any major hits back there, Chris. So I believe, unless Montesi, he probably took the biggest pop to the nose on his car.
Yeah, you see the 6 gets turned sideways. Benfield gets clobbered in the door. Dalton gets spun around. Yeah, unless anybody hit the inside wall, I don't see anybody really with heavy damage here. You got to worry about the left side maybe of the 83 as he got hit in the door pretty hard.
Evan Brown did a little tutu.
Pirouette?
Spin down there. Little tutu. Put on a tutu. Did a little pirouette. Alouette.
Oh, right there's your contact. It looks like, yeah, I think you said the 38 there. But yeah, everybody just kind of goes to the infield. A few of the, that new
They
team.
modeled some
AW.
damage down there through the grass and across the road course lane. You can pick up some damage with this car going through the grass that way.
And this is like the one type of grass you do not want to go through when you're racing at Daytona. This grass here is not fun.
As Ryan Priest will attest.
Well, they've paved that. I don't know if you've heard that news. They've actually paved that section
Down there, yeah.
at Daytona. So, you know, the one interesting thing I take from that, Kev, and it's kind of funny that you brought that up, is when you look at the 3 blowovers that we have had so far since the next-gen cars come out, have all been Fords. Now, granted, Chris Buescher's car dug into the field turf there at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Otherwise, Harrison Burton and Ryan Priest was a straight blowover in Fords. Not saying, you know, anything against Fords or anything like that. It's just kind of ironic that that's the way it's happened.
Yeah. So a couple cars on pit road. The 38, as expected. The 19, the 1, the 2. Brian Wertman on pit road. I don't think he had any damage. I think Brian's just going to say hello to the crew and see if he can have a little ice cream.
That'd be such a Wertman move. Oh man, let's not
I think there's quite a bit of damage actually on that 19 because he's still sitting in there, and so is the 93 as Montesi pulls away. In the 6.
Let's bring up the 13 here to David Comstock leading this race. Man, how we feeling? This is a little crazy out there.
Yeah, so far, okay. Just been really, I think the outside lane is the way to go. So just gonna stick to the plan. Just block the runs where I can. Try to control that bottom lane because you have a lot of side draft effect. You can pull the inside lane back. The right side of the car is much more effective on the side draft than the left. So yeah, just gonna hope my luck runs good with the pushes from behind, and then hope I don't get wrecked.
Is the outside line more stable? Is that where you're getting that out of, or is it? I mean, is it loose everywhere?
So far, I really haven't gotten loose. The car moves around a bit in the draft, and while you're trying to push somebody a little bit, and more so when you're getting pushed, you just have to be on top of the wheel and just manage it the best you can. And you know, you're at the mercy of the guy behind for the most part. But you know, if you watching in the mirror, just trying to make sure your car is positioned the best that you can on his bumper as well. And then just making sure that you make the right moves to control the bottom lane when needed, and doing all that without making sure you don't put yourself in a position where the guy behind you got a moment where I had Wetzel pushing me, and I had to go down and kind of pull back the bottom lane, and was afraid that as I was doing it that he might have got try to follow me back in line and hook me in the right rear because we were just so locked on. So it's just a lot of little tiny things to try to manage among all this.
Have you been able to learn a lot from that to take to the big race in 2 weeks?
Oh yeah, for sure. As long as there's no build-up date between then and now.
Everybody, best of luck here the rest of the way.
All right, thanks.
You too. David Comstock, and some interesting points there from him as we get ready to come back to the green flag here. Appreciate him for joining us, getting back to his channel.
Tyler Dalton comes in. He finishes his service and joins up right here as they come out of turn 4 and stack up for this restart. Lap 23, Comstock, Jorgensen Jr., Hudson, Wetzel, Wesley Donaldson. Your top 5 here is we're about to get ready to go back under green here at Daytona.
And Jorgensen in that National Guard number 88 car, or 88 colors. You know what, though? That 88 nationwide cars look pretty good on Sundays with Mac McMillan. You wonder if Jorgensen might be able to play the same luck card there, but not the best of restarts there as Hudson gets to the back of Comstock. Comstock, well, I was going to say an ally, but Hudson said, no, I'm going on my own.
Down goes Donaldson to that lower second position. He's going to tuck in that slot as they're nose to tail out of turn 2 to the backstretch, and I'm telling you, that looks nervous. When you see how tight they are and the way the cars are dancing back and forth, that is a recipe for disaster. As Comstock loves what he sees in the rearview mirror, because that's all he sees, things in the rearview mirror.
Comstock said what he said about pulling people back, and did you not see how he pulled the 13 or the 43 back on that restart when he got to his inside?
Yeah.
That was pretty amazing as the 7 drops down, and wait a minute, Richard Beasley out of nowhere. His car was destroyed a few minutes ago.
Yeah, they taped the front bumper back on, and again, Mr. Super Speedway up here running in the top 5.
Still got to check.
That's what I was talking about. If you had damage, if you got it reasonably fixed, and you're in the draft and you catch the draft, we saw how fast a car could drop out as he got stuck in the sucker hole, and out the back he goes. As you know, we saw Kevin King pit earlier from that first caution, I believe it was, and here he is running in the top 5, and it just goes to show, slice, dice, pick the right moves, and you could drive yourself back up to the front as long as you avoid the mess going through.
The one that's caught my eye is Joey Stone there in that 7 car. He just came out of nowhere up into the pack there, and he was 3 wide for the lead, and now he's up there. P3 drops down the elevator to the bottom lane there with no help. Kevin goes down to pull him back. And that's going to open up the
cars
49.
brushing the wall back there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
These cars are more squirrely than half of America on ice. You got to see me drive a 650 at FedEx on ice.
I have to believe that Tyler Dalton is thrilled that this is not the 500K, because his car is toast. He just cannot keep the speed up, and has dropped off and is just going to roll around here tonight to get himself a finish.
Might have a little bit of damage fixed, and of course, you never know when cautions might come here. As well, Bobby Wetzel has hit the wall 4 times in one straightaway.
Yeah. Oh, Montesi against the wall. It looks like these cars do not turn going in. We've seen 3 cars in succession go up and tag the wall.
Oh, we almost had a wreck at the lead. Stone took the lead, and then Hudson about turned him.
Let me ask you, how many times have you watched a car in front of you drive up and you follow him right to the fence when he drives in?
That's one you can do, but you got the other one is where you're pushing a car to the lead, and then you follow him down the track and you turn into the guy on your inside. I think we've all done that once on iRacing.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you, these guys up front there are taking no prisoners.
The runs. Oh, here we go. Comstock goes around, 95. Ooh, into the door of the 9 goes around. More carnage. It's the clash. What do you know? Caution's out. Put it out.
Jatina, he picked the right hole there and just drove through, as Callum Tony did also. Wow. That was pretty big. A lot of cars took some significant hits in that one.
I mean, checkers or wreckers, there's nothing on the line other than pride, if you will. So you're going for it here. You see Hudson had to run there on the 7, gets to the inside lane. It's going to happen in the middle there where the 13 is. And did the 95 get a bad bump from the bottom? Let's jump up here and go to the far chase of the 95. Mike Peters here. No, he just come up the track.
Yeah, came up. Car washed up, and that's all it takes. The 23 went for
Montesi got Wortman. I was picking on him last night after the Phoenix race because of the way he come across the start-finish line. But this is the reason why I can't pick on Wortman too much. He finds ways through wrecks. Oh, when all else fails, you just go ride with Brian Wortman. Wreck Avoidance 101, people. Right here. Now, in fairness, Wortman does... Oh, I'm going to have to bring him up here in a second. Watch this. Yikes.
Wow.
They're still not done.
Yeah, Charles Von Schaik, he did an evil Knievel down there on the bottom with jumped the berm and came up across the racetrack to a couple people. That was rather fascinating.
I'm bringing Wortman up here. We're going to reminisce here for a second. My man, Brian, you got a copy, buddy?
Yeah, I do.
All right, so how much did Nordgar's wreck avoidance practice 10 years ago help you in that one?
A lot.
All right, for those who don't know the story, him and I used to race way back in the day, and we would actually do these practice sessions. And during the practice, if there was wrecks, you had to park your car where you wrecked, and you could not exit. And basically, you stayed in a pack, and you kept racing, and you had to avoid the wrecks. And they called it wreck avoidance practice.
Yep, I remember that.
Watching Wortman go through that, what did you see in front of you there? Because you were all but done, it looked like.
Like, I saw, it looked like Bobby Wrestle coming back up, and I said, oh my goodness, I need to find a hole. And luckily, I found that hole. Like, you gotta do that, like, in a split second.
That was awesome, man. Well, hey, best of luck. Hey, you could win this thing.
Yep, I won my very first Sim500 race by dodging a big wreck on the last lap.
At Atlanta, we were there, so let's see if you can do it again, buddy.
10-4, thank you.
Brian Wortman. Oh, man, those were fun days, by the way. Those are days where I stayed up way too late in hosted sessions and had to be at work, like, the next morning. I think my body's still being.
I've never heard of that. That sounds like a blast.
Oh, it's okay. You got what's the guy's name? Mooncar, I think it is. He has these hosted sessions he does where he brings in this. You get the pros and stuff will come in and they race. Same kind of deal. It was a guy named Nordgar, this guy that got me into streaming and stuff, broadcasting, and he would come on every night and host these things called mystery races. And we would go in there and race, and as part of the practice, if you wrecked during a pit party, you had to keep your car on the track, and you keep your car parked where it was, and it was your way to wreck avoidance. You come up, you knew the cars were there, you had to work your way through it, and if you got involved, you had to park your car where you were. You could almost say it works.
It reminds me of an Enduro. Have you ever seen an Enduro?
The old Enduros?
Flemington Speedway, they used to start 200 cars, and if you crashed, you just left the car there. And people would sit in the car.
That just looks dangerous. You see that in those old Daytona races on dirt on the beach. It's like people would just park their cars there. I'm like, man, that's not good. I still to this day, this is a dream race of mine. One day, and I just want to see the start. Run an endurance race somewhere. And of course, there's going to be advantages and disadvantages before anybody gets into this. I'm well aware of that. But in order to start the race, whoever's going to start the endurance race, you have to be out of the session. You're logged in, but not out of the session, but out of the session. And then as the green flag comes out, everybody's on pit road still, and as the green comes out, you log in. However fast you get to your car, you go from there and start racing.
That's like running across the track and putting your helmet on and buckling in.
Right, like they used to do at Le Mans, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that'd be kind of creative to try. I mean, yes, like I said, you're going to have people with potatoes that are going to take forever and a day to get into the race, and you're going to have those that can get in the race in 2 minutes. It is what it is. Green flag comes out, you get in the car and you go. I've always dreamed of that.
Fun to me.
Doesn't it, right?
I hope I have a quick connection on that day.
The 91 WDB diecast, obviously promoting themselves over here in chat. Logan Quinn is, and I always joke with Wesley when I say that the WDB diecast are always half off when they're destroyed.
Yeah, they get parked out in the woods.
All right.
Georgia, Texas, California, Mid-South, I don't know where Hudson's from, but I know he's from Carolina. New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. That is your top 7 cars as Stone and Jorgensen hammered down. Inside lane gets the jump. Outside lane musters the speed, and we have to come back to something we didn't discuss very much. Outside line. You heard what Comstock said, and I'm sure a lot of these guys know it. At the end, you're going to want to position yourself somewhere in that outside line.
Oh, don't go to the middle. Stone just got caught. No, you're absolutely right. I just watched John put himself in a bad spot there in the middle there. So the 88's going to clear, and here comes King for the lead on the bottom side, and there they go. Joe Hudson gets turned. And
Coleman
they are
in the wall,
have all
and
saved
they're
it.
coming back together.
Oh, there goes Hudson again, and the Coleman gets hit again. And the one gets net coated. That ended up being a lot smaller of a wreck than it should have been.
Yeah, really only Coleman and Hudson did the do-si-do there. But you ever been in a channel with Hudson when something goes on?
I can only imagine. I know Coleman, for instance, I have, but not Hudson. Drone cam.
It is a rant. Yeah, just one of those entries at the corner and everybody trying to fight for real estate. Push, shove, push, shove, push, shove, shove, push, push, shove.
There's like
shove.
there's like
Do swing your partner.
It's like 12 cars in that wreck, but 2 of them spin.
Yeah. Nice job for those out in the back, right? Just kind of seeing what manifests. They all check up.
I can't
pick
put
the right lanes.
I don't know if I could put that on the 38 or the 7 or the 43 here. Let's
It almost seems like the 43 was following the car in front of him, and the 7 got that run.
Let's see if that's the call. Yes,
He's coming down to line up with the car in front of him. Yeah, it's just a little too low. And it's a fraction of a second. You know, you're in that outside lane and you come down and you're thinking, well, I'm okay. And maybe you're a quarter car length off, as that's a pretty good hit on the right corner there for the 38 of Coleman.
Here's the thing that's catching my eye. Is anyone noticing the 7 car gets 0 damage in this whole thing? Let's watch this view again. Watch the 7 car. This car doesn't take a single ounce of a wrinkle at all.
I was watching Beasley.
Still no damage. Still no damage. What?
Got to have a tire mark on the
you
right,
would think.
right one number.
I mean, I was looking to see if something would crinkle up or go flying, but nope. That just kind of caught my eye there. So 34 laps in. I think we're going to have to step away and just get a drink of water ourselves. And we'll come back and get you the finish of this race. But first, a word from 811 on the Captain Esports Network.
What a nice day to install my new mailbox.
Hi there, friend. I'm Dig Safely Man. My job is to ensure you call 811 before you dig.
Why do I need to do that?
Vital utilities like natural gas and electric run just beneath the Earth's surface. Damaging them can cause service interruption, environmental hazards, or personal injury.
I thought only contractors had to call before they dig, so homeowners do too.
Call 3 business days before you dig unless you have X-ray vision. Visit nc811.org to learn more.
All right, back we are here at Daytona. And for those who are here to watch the next episode of Emergency, first things first, we don't air that show, so sorry you might have to look for TV Land on your TV or something. You didn't think I knew that one, did you, Kev?
One of my favorite shows.
My grandma watched it a lot, actually, before she passed away. It was like every time I went to her house, that show was on.
Me TV. I see that on the gym while I'm walking on the treadmill, and that's the show I always look
There
for.
you go.
That and Adam 12.
Yeah, that's the perfect show to be watching on the treadmill.
Yep.
I figured like American Gladiators or something, maybe.
I'm going to show you Kevin, Ty, and Randolph Mantooth. That shows you. Those are the actual names of the actors.
Well, there you go. We've learned something new tonight, folks.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
no surprise to see Kevin King out front. Mark Jorgensen's been holding his own in that number 88, which ironically is a number that Kevin has run in the past when he runs with Junior Motorsports here and there. Nelson Rivera quietly having a stout run in the top 4. And, well, Calantoni, we knew it. We knew he was going to be here for this race. We said it earlier. He's the guy that wants to win every race, and by God, he's going to try and do it. Charles Van Schaik did a wheelie about 4 laps ago, and I don't know how he finds himself in 5th, but that's the way it goes with these races.
Is there any cars out here with no damage right now?
Yeah, fair question.
I think the top 2, maybe, Kevin and Jorgensen. I mean, you can't tell who has damage, who's not, because everybody's got things fixed. But I think from Kevin to Brown, Joey Jatina, Giles, Brian Wortman, Richard Beasley, all those guys back there have had damage of some sort probably in their cars. Well, we're going to come to 5 laps to go. A reminder, we do have 2 green white checkers potentially in the horizon.
Joe Hudson, don't count him out of this. He could Dale Earnhardt his way back to the win. He's out in the back of the pack here if the car has no damage, and I saw him get it fixed. We saw before where Kevin King could drive through, and so could Joe Hudson or anybody else in this field. So we, with 5 to go, honestly have no idea who's going to win this race. So let's see where it goes.
As King drops down in front of Jorgensen, safe to say Hudson's going to need an ally to get up there.
I don't think his car is up to snuff here.
As Calantoni hung out.
Hudson's back there scraping fenders with Tyler Dalton. That's kind of comical.
Well, yes, they are in the same channel for those wondering. It's the pushing already. Calantoni gets a bump from guess who? Kevin Brown. Here comes Parker to the inside. Calantoni goes to the middle. Kevin, he can't block them all. He's going to try. That hangs Jorgensen out.
Push through the corner.
What a move by Kevin. I thought he was going to try to get all 3 lanes. I'm like, yikes. Kevin would know that more than I do, by the way, about that kind of move. As here comes Kevin Brown to the bottom. 3 to
Kevin
go.
and Kevin show here into turn number 1 with Richard Beasley coming on the bottom. Mr. Super Speedway. Car's been hammered, but he is there.
Comstock joined the battle with a new car.
You got to keep an eye on who can sneak in here and take this thing is Parker. He knows how to get the job done when it's on the line.
If you're in it, you can win it. And I don't mean the big one. Up. We're starting already. Kevin King into the grass. Up, we'll caution out.
Yellow.
And that's back here. The 13 of Comstock and Dalton.
Yeah, Comstock was sideways and Tyler was just teed up to him physically against the door, shoving him sideways down the straightaway.
Well, hello to your green-white checker finish.
Bad to worse here for David Comstock, who ran top 5 for the first half of this race and kept everything clean. Trying to see how this manifested. It's probably argument over real estate.
It looks like Comstock gets squeezed. Hello, very above our camera.
Like the toothpaste out of the tube, yes. Little bump.
Yeah, there's definitely just a squeeze. The one got shuffled out. It looked like just having a run.
I don't know if I'd call that a T. It was more like a...
Watch the one here of Dustin Hall. Getting a little squirrely there, but watch right here. He's going to get kind of shuffled out. And he gets a run, and it squeezes Comstock up. And then obviously, I mean, the car's going for the same piece of real estate here.
Good hands there for Kevin King. He got down onto the grass. The car started to bounce around. It was in the bumps over there on the apron, and he just kind of didn't panic. Brought the car back up to the racetrack and grabbed the gear, and off he went.
Do we have the Dukes of Hazzard theme on cue? Let's go on board with the 43 of Joe Hudson here.
He is a good old boy.
Almost fell. Just go to the grass.
Oh.
Slight bumpy of a ride there. Hey, whatever you got to do to stay out of the wreck, right?
Say what you want, right? The way he came up the grass, that shows a veteran move because he got himself to the apron and he used the apron to slide the car right up and square up with the yellow line, and then it just drifted back up on the racetrack and turned to his crew chief and said, "Ain't nothing but a thing."
Right?
That looked pretty good to me.
So again, qualifying next week with the duels. We'll get that race underway at the same usual time, at 8:15 or so Monday night next week. And then the following Monday, it is the Daytona 500K. As Brian Macklin looks to go for 4 straight wins. But of course, once we get the podcast, the Scalicast, oh, by the way, episode number 5, we got part of it recorded today. And that would be the part with Kevin with us as we were talking a little preview of the Sim500 season. So you can check that out. We'll have it hopefully out by Wednesday, as we usually do. And, of course, I'll post it in the Sim500 Discord, and you'll be able to go check it out on Podbean or on Spotify or even iHeartMedia. And you get the episode up on YouTube, too. So plenty of things to check out there as we'll talk about the Clash race from this weekend. Obviously, with Kevin, we talk about Sim500, the history of the league and the Cup Series, and throw some picks out there that you might want to check out as we preview like who we think our champion's going to be, who we think could surprise, who could win this season for the first time, and so on and so forth. So make sure you do check out the Scalicast podcast, released every Wednesday, the new one, which hopefully will be released on Wednesday this week. We'll update if it doesn't happen, but you can go check out the other 4 and get caught up. And one thing we're going to do with Kev one day is get him on there to chat about his history of mods and growing up and stuff. That's one thing I've enjoyed doing, is getting drivers in there to get to know them. Now, the last 2 weeks, we've brought league owners in to kind of preview their seasons as they get started. But when we get back to next week, we'll start pulling drivers back in. And it's our way to kind of just get to know the drivers that we're covering. You don't get a chance really to know the information about a Richard Beasley or Nelson Rivera or even yourself in that kind of thing. And I think that's kind of a cool feature, is to learn, the Pedro Mojica, we also been doing the get to know before the races, and we learned a lot about Pedro back at Daytona when in the Xfinity side. So it's one of the fun things to get to know these drivers.
Yeah, spend a day in their shoes, and some of them, when you start talking to them and say, "What do you do for a living?" and they tell you, you're like, I would have never guessed that.
Right. And I use the example, and again, I talked to Pedro, and this blew me away when he said this. Of course, we know his work with the Chevy simulator and stuff like that. But the one thing he brought up to me that blew my mind is he is a cancer survivor.
Oh, I did not know.
No, right. And it's like, holy cow. And, and that kind of thing. So, never know what we might learn about some of these drivers. But one thing we're going to learn is somebody's going to win here in about 3 laps, maybe.
Is it Jose's from Puerto Rico?
Yes.
Do I have that right?
Yeah.
And he runs a restaurant down there.
I did not know that part. I know he's... Yeah. Interesting.
You should talk to him. I'm pretty sure I have that right. So I said, in time you get to know some of the folks and talk to them, and you ask what they do, and you go, wow.
Team name up front as Kevin Brown gets to restart with Richard Beasley. As it's Josh Parker and Charles Van Schaik, whose car was destroyed in the wreck with Mike Kelly earlier, is up here now in the outside lane pushing. Here comes Joey Jatina, Wesley Donaldson. I mean, they're all here as we green, white checker and just get back to the white flag is all we want. Once you get to the white flag, it's all gloves are off.
I'll tell you, man, it is
Oh,
dog
there
eat
it
dog
goes.
right there in the mix.
Count
Tony.
He and the 88 get turned and no caution yet.
Oh, no.
We stay green.
Good old boys riding through the grass again.
Hudson just earned himself a nickname. Final lap. Oh, Beasley might have just got pushed.
Look at Donaldson out there. He's got the suck up. He's coming up to these top four. Is he going to be able to be the spoiler?
I don't think Beasley wanted to leave Kevin's bumper, but he got pushed, and it pushed Kevin out of shape. And now it's Beasley to the front with Parker, Riviera, Donaldson, and here comes the runs from everybody.
Bonalasso in there too. He's right on the outside. There's 2x2 on the front with the 49 right there with him as Beasley got a little squirrely out of 3.
49 to the middle as Donaldson goes to the bottom. Parker going to try to block. Wesley Donaldson will get the win in the clash.
3 wide in a photo finish at the line with Donaldson coming from the back. I talked about that run he got, and that just propelled him to pick the right lane. WDB Bikecast. Yeah.
Oh, T-bone steak for you.
Oh, Jatina. Oh, yeah, that was great. That's the way you want it to be.
Checkers or wreckers, right?
Diecast is the word. I love that spray.
He's taking a beating. Wesley's not going to want to
run the other side of the car.
He doesn't want to win a race again. Oh, now he's dog tracking.
Well,
what do you know?
All fun and love and war as long as you got the trophy.
I heard that.
I don't know. Will he make it back?
I don't know if he's going to make it back, but he's going to make it to us. We're going to talk to him real quick, because one thing I've worked on, for those who haven't noticed, I've been trying to get the drivers up here quicker, especially the winner, because I think you get the emotion quicker out of them. And let's get Wes up here, man. Wes, good luck getting that car back to the start-finish line. I think you've been hit by everything but a meteoroid. But congratulations on the... There you go. Welcome to Victory Lane. Hey, it works.
Oh man, that was absolutely insane. I don't even know what to say.
We don't even want to talk about what you learned. Just talk about the last couple laps there.
So that second to last restart, I was I think like 13th or 14th, and somehow before the caution came out, like 2 laps later, worked my way up to 5th. So I knew I was going to be kind of in a good spot there on that last one. Definitely got a little lucky that caution didn't come out when they all started wrecking behind. But I noticed kind of with the way things were, I had a bit of a gap. I kind of intentionally lagged back while there was like 4 or 5 cars up there in front of me, and the guys behind me didn't quite have a run yet. So I caught Parker at the right time, and just the way the side draft is in these things and the runs you get, I knew if I could just get space to pull down, I was going to be in a good spot.
Now, the interesting thing, you say the side draft because these cars aren't supposed to have it, but yet on iRacing they still do. Obviously, to put that to an advantage here, but you get up there behind Beasley here, and after Beasley, or I'm sorry, you're back here behind Nelson as you get the run as you talked about. Parker pushes Beasley out front, and it's just like trying to time up making the right move here.
Yeah, and that was, like I said, the big thing was I wanted to lay back, didn't make sure, because I know you can get a big run. Like where I was at, if I had just matted it where I was, I probably would have had a huge run coming through 1 and 2, but I didn't want it to be that early and put myself in a bad spot down the middle of the back. But I don't know what it is, if it's exactly side draft or what, but the second you pull out from behind someone, the car that you're pulling out from behind just drops like a bomb. And then you get a run. It does eventually stall out a little bit, but as long as you have someone behind you, you're blowing by them.
So is this a sign of things to come potentially this season for you? You've been waiting to have that breakout, and here you go to victory lane in the clash to kick it all off.
I really hope so. I mean, I feel like I've been getting better and better. Haven't had quite the best luck as far as on the Xfinity side of things this season, but I've never won in a Premier Series race before, so I don't know if this counts, kind of, but it feels really good to be up here, and I hope this isn't the only time I'm up here this season.
We have a feeling that's not going to be the case. So great job this season. Great job winning the clash here, and I'm just going to spoil something for you. One of us picked you to be a breakout guy this year.
Uh-huh.
Well, proving them right.
There you go. Great job tonight. Send some shout-outs.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks to everybody here at Sim500, Joey, all the other admins, everybody who helps put this stuff on. Thanks to NC811 for sponsoring the series again this year. Couldn't do this stuff without them. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast. It's so much fun to go back and watch these every single week, even if I have a bad race or something like that. And then last but not least, shout out to my custom diecast business, WBD Diecast. You can check it out on Instagram at WBD Diecast. We got multiple other cars running the logo this year, sponsoring the series as well. So champion of the series gets of all the Premier Series gets a custom diecast at the end of the year. So I've been really excited to do that this season, and yeah, look forward to hopefully some more wins.
You forgot a very important person.
Oh, my spotter, Jason. Yes. I I had it rigged up too, because I'm in literally like 2 Discords tonight. I was in the Mafia channel, and then in my browser on my web page, I had a private Discord pulled up so that way I could get spotting. And he was talking me through a lot there at the end, so it's very big thank you to him.
He's pretty exciting. He said, "Let's fing go." I don't know. I don't know what the word "fing" means, but okay.
Something about that. Yeah. I said something about the same as that too.
Oh, great job tonight, bud.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
Logan says hi, by the way.
Yes. Hi, Logan.
Watch, everybody's piling. You can give me a shout out, man. Wesley Donaldson, a winner here at Daytona. Congratulations to him, as he's going to be pretty excited to get this win here tonight, get that momentum going to Daytona in the actual 500 coming up here next week. Is apparently all my graphics are out of whack here during this race. So Mike Peters did not win this race. That is not the right that's the consolation graphics here. Let's get you. I'm trying to get you the final results, but I'm failing miserably. Let's click the right one here. There we go. Wesley Donaldson wins over Josh Parker, Matt Rodolasso finishing third, Joey Jatina, Richard Beasley, Nelson Rivera, Kevin Brown, Joey Stone, Charles Van Schaik, and Chad Coleman ended up with a top 10. Dustin Hall 11th with Kevin King 12th. David Comstock 13th. Mike Peters and Tyler Dalton your top 15. Brian Wortman, Cody Giles finishing in the 17th position in that 5 car. Jorgensen, who had a great run tonight going until that wreck late, finishes 18th. Callan Tony 19th. Joe Hudson in the should be the 01 orange car, but the 43 Ally car finishes 20th. Bobby Wetzel 21st. Montesi 22nd. Benefield 23rd. Mike Kelly, Scott Simley end up 24th and 25th, which I believe is ironically their starting parts too in the race. So, all right. So while Wesley celebrates, let's get our second place finisher up here. Kev, we'll let you get a word there with Josh Parker, who finishes second.
Yeah, Josh Parker, it was so close. Led off of turn number 4. The 91 was able to sneak down underneath you. And if you had to replay it all over again, what would you have done differently?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't want to make the move on Beasley too early. I think that was too early in my opinion. But I saw Wesley have a run and go to the top, so I was kind of protecting. If I didn't do that, I feel like he would have at least gotten to me, and then it would have been Beasley for the win. So I had to make that move a little earlier. Then I knew I was going to get the lead into 3, but I didn't. I kind of expected what happened to happen. My only chance was to side draft the hell out of him and try to slow him down, but it didn't work out.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much you could see it, but it looked like Beasley's car looked rather unsettled as he went into 3. The car got a little wobble to it, and unfortunately that let him draw back, and it seemed to open the inside lane for Donaldson to shoot down underneath you. He had Rodolasso pushing him through, and we were talking about your position and the threat that you had coming in. How do you find yourself in the top 5 and in the hunt for all these things?
I don't know. I've always been a good super speedway racer. I don't know why, but I enjoy them. For some reason, I think if you look back at the track record, I don't think I've won with this damn car since switching over. Maybe I have. I don't know. No, I lied. I don't know what I'm talking about. But the draft, it's tough because when you're in the lead, you're sitting duck with this, like how powerful the draft is. But I don't know. It's something I enjoy doing. It's fun. It's like playing chess and checkers. It's strategic. It's you play mind games. It's just a fun thing to do.
Well, you're the shoe, and you're running a Toyota, and Wesley's running a Charger of all things, and he snuck underneath you. Both similar livery, if I could use that word, WD.
Is that a new word for you? No more paint
I
scheme?
guess.
Livery?
Yeah, I'm just trying to practice my vocabulary
I
for
got
Chris.
You've been watching F1 a lot. You getting ready for the F1 season.
Failing miserably tonight, just
Welcome
trying
to the club.
get back to tongue twisted, but oh, so close. And I suspect, Josh, that it's okay. This is the Clash. I know you want to win them all, but there's a 500K on the line next week, and I'm sure that as the preliminaries continue to march on, we're going to see you later in the big one at Daytona.
Yeah, if history plays itself right, for some reason, no matter what you do, Macklin just always wins. So it doesn't matter what happens. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. We have a WBD diecast, which Wesley, which I'm happy he won. Wesley's I haven't talked to him much, but he seems like a really good dude. He races awesome. So I reached out to him to see if he wanted to throw some his name on my car because I run a blank scheme, and he was with Chad already. So kind of give him a little bit of help running his scheme. Like I said, he treats everyone well, really well. He doesn't say a word at the racetrack. So when we're racing, so he's a good dude. So we're gonna run this scheme all year. It was good to have a 1-2 finish. We went with the Toyota, not the Ford, like I normally would run, only because since they switched to a Ford, everyone and their sister is running the Ford. So now we're gonna go to Toyota because no one's running the Toyota. And it's also new, kind of flashy. So that's why you're gonna see me, Chad, and Beasley in Toyotas. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun year.
Well, there you go. Nice run tonight. Good way to shake the tree a little bit, get your name up here. There's a lot of stiff competition this year, and second place is a good way to go. I know you wanted one more, but I think there's still a smile on your face if I could get it.
I
Anybody
didn't
want to
waste
give
my
a shout out?
time. Of course, I'm smiling. I didn't waste my time. Like it sucks that we don't get paid for this, right? This race, so it was like, you just don't want to waste your time. So it was fun, but yeah, for shout outs, like no, obviously WPT diecast. I just followed him on Instagram myself, so everyone go follow him on Instagram. Chad, everyone at Team Name, Beasley, Kevin, Comstock, you guys for doing the broadcast. Wesley for winning. Joey, 811. I think they're sponsoring the league again. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
There you go. Yes, they are here
There
with
they
us.
are. There you
and
go.
Josh
They're
Parker.
sponsoring the league again. Okay.
We'll keep an eye on that 81 all week, or every week. I'm sure that you're going to be able to.
You can watch me all week. You might get bored as shit, but
keep us entertained, Josh, as usual. Thanks for stopping
I'll see
by.
you guys.
Way to start the season. We'll see you next week.
Josh Parker finishing in the second position tonight. I wonder if they'll get him on the Xfinity car because that car was blank the first 5 weeks. So, and then the new guy of the race, if you will, the 49 car, Mike Rodolasso, or Matt Rodolasso. You got a new name tonight. Congratulations. So welcome to top three, as you were able to get to the part where you elbow dropped to the checkered flag. You just couldn't get the sweet chin music on the field to win the race, but great job on a P3.
Yeah, thanks. It was pretty close. I was in one of them wrecks earlier. I got damaged in a couple of them, so I was just happy to finish. So just kind of survive until the end, really.
Talk about what you saw there, because I know you had a run up the middle there going into turn 3 at one point. Do you think that, hey, this is my part, I might have a shot here?
If I had someone behind me, if someone went with me, I knew I had a chance, but I don't think anyone was right behind me, and then the two guys up top went to the bottom, so then I went back up to the top, just try to go where they weren't, not lose my momentum, but that's about all I could do. I didn't have any more than that. It's nothing I could have done different.
Well, obviously, it was a fantastic start. Did you learn a little bit there? You and the team, obviously being a new team to the league, did you guys learn a lot going into the 500 in a couple weeks?
I mean, as much as you can with it, being a plate race, learn some guys' names and some stuff like that. But, once we hit some regular tracks, we'll probably learn a little bit more about, how everyone races and whatnot. But, no, it's nice to be in a new league. It's fun. Nice way to kick it off here with a decent finish. So, pretty happy with tonight.
Well, great job finishing in the top 3 here this evening, and send some shout-outs to whoever you like to.
Yeah, my teammates, Rod Midden and Pat Blundell, thanks for them coming out. And they stuck around, even though they didn't make the feature. Thanks to you guys for putting on the broadcast and the whole, everyone involved with the league just for doing it. I know how hard it is, so I appreciate everybody there, too.
Well, great job tonight, man. Congratulations, and go celebrate with the team, and we'll see you here next week.
Thanks, guys. Take it easy.
Absolutely, too. Matt Rodolasso finishing in the third position here tonight in the Clash, and what has been a wild night of racing here wraps up as we kick off the opening night of 811 Cup Series racing here at Sim500, as we're going to spend the next couple Monday nights here at Daytona and get ready. Kevin, I know it was a good little warm-up for us getting back together for the first time in a couple months, and we saw some wildness here tonight.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at how much the cars moved around, how unstable they were, and I think that's going to make an interesting speed weeks as we continue next week. You'll be rooting for the Sim 500 heroes, and I'll be yelling, "Let's go Devils." But I promise I won't miss the big one. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, obviously basically a planned event that Mr. Kevin here had already scheduled for next week, so he's going to be out. We'll do qualifying on one-man show, but we'll have some fun with it, the 2 duels, and go on and make this a fun event coming up here the next couple of weeks. And Kev, go have fun with the family there, and
thank you.
And we'll see you back here in 2 weeks. Appreciate it, bud. And to the viewers, appreciate you guys for watching. Big shout out to Sim500 and, of course, to NC811 for allowing us to be part of the broadcast. A reminder, the ScalaCast will be released, episode 5, hopefully Wednesday or Thursday. We'll get it out there for you. You can hear the preview of Sim500 season, and as we reflect in the history a little bit of the series, and we get into some interesting conversations because, Kevin being the Northeastern guy he is, being modified driven and stuff like that, he's never met any of the co-hosts on the show, and he gets to meet Matt Teller, who is a big short track guy. And we get the Sim500 preview, and then we get a little short track talk in there too. So it gets interesting. So make sure you check it out coming up when it gets released, not to spoil the whole thing. So it was definitely a fun conversation among all. So we'll get that out, and we'll get you back here. We have another league race tomorrow night. You can come check out here on the Captain Esports Network. But the next Sim500 broadcast will actually be Sunday. Or actually not Sunday, because that's Super Bowl Sunday. It will be next Monday for the qualifying and for the heat races for the Daytona 500K. So we'll see you back here coming up next week. As always, remember, though, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya!
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain Esports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.